It's one thing whenever you give of yourself like you do, and like both of you have for many, many years in teaching Bible studies. But we know that only one man can do so much, only one woman can do so much. So the importance of how the Bible says imparting to those that are able to teach. So that brings up, you've got to find the people. And then not only do you find the people that have the passion, the potential, but then you got to be able to train them to be able to do that. Brother Johnson, talk to us first of all about the biblical example of the need for reproducing yourself and replicating yourself as a Bible teacher.
Well, I think the earliest reference we can go to where there was a call and actually a demand for helpers was in the book of Exodus, which Brother Cornwell referred to earlier. When Jephthah told Moses, his son-in-law, asked him, what are you doing? So he goes into a discourse there of explaining how he met with the people every day and dealt with their problems. He said, what you're doing is not good. He said, you wear yourself out and the people with you. So he said, gain to yourself teachers. He let God speak to you, and you put men under you that are competent, and he spells out what he means by competent there. They're trustworthy, they're God-fearing, they're free from covetousness, and put them over thousands, over hundreds, over fifties, and over tens. Let God speak to you, you speak to them, let them minister to the people. So he created equilateral triangle in theory. And as we all know, the equilateral triangle in geometry is the most stable figure of geometry. In its rightful position, base down, apex up, it's stable. Higher it goes, the wider the base goes, always stable. So by getting teachers to help him, he was able to accomplish that. And that pattern followed through all the way through the scriptures. When the children of Israel came back from the Medo-Persian captivity, then Ezra and Nehemiah, they practiced that. Because how could Ezra stand on a pulpit of wood and speak to all of those people that came back from the captivity at one message and get through to them? You probably had in excess of 10,000, 20,000 people there with no microphones, no phone voice amplification. How could he do that? The last person, the furthest from the pulpit, could understand what he was saying like the nearest one. It was through that system. He spoke to leaders, they spoke to their groups, and on through to the end. Then when you come to the New Testament, then James, who was bishop of and passed over Jerusalem, how could he minister to, some historian says, as many as 10,000 members in his congregation? No phone, no telegraph, no modern means of communication, but he could minister to them and pastor them. It was through that system. When Paul goes to the household of Stephanus, went to one household, he ministered to them. Then from them, the members of that household went out and wagons spoke from that point and got the gospel to Achaia. So that's a system that was biblical. That system was lost in the birth of pseudo-Christianity and pushed back. But now, across the world, we apostolics are seeing the need of that system being revived. I learned early in my experience that for the first few lessons, when I went just a few people to the church, I could take care of them by myself. But if the church kept growing, number one, I would put the pyramid in the wrong position, apex down, base up, putting all the pressure on me. I could only do so much. I needed competent people to help me serve, help me reach people, not only convert them, but also help me shepherd them until they became established and they became producers. So this idea of the pyramid or the equilateral triangle idea, I brought into my thinking early. And so I tried to bring all of my teachers in to understand that this is a calling of God to them. They're not preachers. They are harvesters of people. But to harvest people, you must be able to teach them and care for them. They become a part of my caring process. These people come from other denominations than us, freshly converted. They leave their friends. They need new friends. They need other people to associate with. So the people I've trained, becomes that for them to replace what they lost in the former denomination. So I found that developing people in this sense was very important to my program. It helps me. I now pastor my church that presently we probably have right at 1,800 members, plus through the years in Denham Springs, I established 9 daughter works. That I don't include those numbers in my church, but really the way we're structured, I could handle all of these people easier than I did when I pastored 10 people in Donaldsonville when I did everything. So that's my thoughts there.
All right, now in Denham Springs when you came, and that's everything started when the church really started moving. You mentioned something about you took 5 men, I believe it was, and you taught them. Was that kind of the first time that you moved into this? How did you teach them? What was your practical manner of when you did that then, when you started then, and then now practically, how are you training teachers?
Okay, then the work had grown. When we went there, we had probably 19 supporting people. And then my first year, it grew from 19 to about 150. At that point, my responsibilities just exploded. I couldn't take care of it. So then I saw the need of the biblical principle that Jephthah told Moses, get some competent men. I looked through my congregation, and I found the people who were suitable to teach. They were educated enough to teach. They knew enough about the Bible to start teaching. But I wanted to reproduce myself and them. So I brought them in, and first I brought a few of them with me, sometimes 2 or 3 with me. The instructions were, I will show you how to teach, you to ask no questions, you to answer no questions. Just listen and watch the students. Then you'll come with me through lesson 5. When I get to lesson 5, you begin at lesson 1. On your first lesson, promise, you will speak what the Bible speaks. You will be silent what the Bible is silent, so forth. And then you will speak accurately, always. Don't let them ask any questions on that first session you're teaching. Take questions at the end of the session. That gives you 1 week to come back with the correct answers. In that way, you'll never put on the spot. Plus, while you're teaching number 1, you come back on, say you're teaching on Monday night, you come with me on Tuesday night, I'll be on lesson 6. I'll keep you 5 lessons ahead, so you know exactly what to say in the lessons that's ensuing. So that way, they were never put on the spot. I found, Brother Shock, that if a new teacher goes in and someone asks a question that they can't answer, if they get embarrassed, most likely they will not go back. And that's not fair to the teacher. So to protect my teacher and also train them where I could duplicate myself in them, I've used this process. I figure the more I can duplicate myself in teachers, the more out there teaching exactly what I'm saying, then I'm more apt to expand my congregation and keep them and minister to them and help them. And also in this process, those people have to know that this man teaching me loves me more than any denominational preacher I've ever sat under. They've got to feel that in the teaching process that's conveyed to them.
Very good. Wow. Very good. Brother Cornwell, I am assuming you've trained a few teachers along the way.
We have trained a few teachers along the way. And first of all, I concur in pastoring a church, you have to have the equilateral triangle. One of the things that I have observed is that it only takes one soul winner in a church for a church to grow. And the Lord gave us a 5-fold ministry: apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, and teachers, for the equipping of the saints. And in 40 some odd years of pastoring, we've had evangelists come to our church. And I can count on one hand with fingers left over the number of evangelists that have come to our church that actually preached to a sinner. Most of them come and they preach to the church people. And I have found that if you're going to reach people, you have to have Bible evangelists within the local church. And I have found that the Bible study teacher is your Bible evangelist. An evangelist is one who reaches the unsaved. He evangelizes. And when that Bible study teacher goes into a home and he presents the gospel in a clear, systematic fashion, he is doing the work of an evangelist. Paul told Timothy, don't forget to do the work of an evangelist. You are responsible, although you're pastoring, you got to reach people. And so when I first started teaching Bible studies in my church, I was the only soul winner in the church. And so I did not try to convert my people to becoming evangelists. I had to do the work of evangelists. As I won people to God, we had one man that came in. He worked for Boeing, building airplanes, and he got laid off. So he came to me and he said, I'd like to teach Bible studies. And he said, I'm going to draw unemployment for 26 weeks, and I'm going to teach Bible studies while I'm laid off. Let the government pay me. So he started teaching Bible studies. At the end of 26 weeks, they called him back, but he was teaching 15 Bible studies a week. And he had already won a number of people to God. And so I said, no, you cannot go back to work for Boeing. I'm going to put you on full time. And here's your job description. You are a Bible evangelist. You are the local church evangelist. And so he started teaching Bible studies, and he's been on my staff now for 37 years, and he has averaged 18 Bible studies a week for 37 years. He's taught over 32,000 Bible studies. He has won a ton of people. So when I taught him how to teach Bible studies, he became successful. And almost every Bible study now, he takes someone with him and is training them, especially if we find somebody that has a propensity for souls. They love people. They're not interested in just being a Bible teacher. They love people. They can reach people. So we'll put somebody with him and teach. He'll teach Bible studies with this person while he is training. And then this is probably not convenient to say, but our Bible colleges are turning out great preachers, but we're turning out poor soul winners. And we have such dynamic preaching among us that these young preachers are seeing these great preachers preach. So they get the philosophy is, I want to be a great preacher. I've been preaching since 1967. I have never asked God to help me to be a better preacher, but I'm constantly begging God to help me to be a better soul winner. Right. The preaching will take care of itself, but being a soul winner, you have to work at. And so if I find a young preacher that he loves people, he loves soul, I will put him on full-time on my staff a long time before they are qualified. And his job description is, I want you to teach Bible studies until you learn how to win souls with Bible studies. Right now, I have 5 full-time pastors on my staff, and their job description is to teach Bible studies. I had a young man just recently, last year, came on my staff. He had won people haphazardly, accidentally. But I said, what could you do if you did it systematically? And so I said, I want to put you on full time. You tell me you want to start a church. You tell me you want to build a church. And I said, if you're going to build a church, you got to have a method. And so I put him on full time, started teaching Bible studies, and he started doing follow-up visitation of people that visit our church. Now he's teaching 23 Bible studies a week. He has learned how to win people on a regular basis, and he's almost ready now to go start his own church. It's so important that we train people. There's another philosophy that I use, and that is during World War II, they were island hopping across the Pacific, and the landings on the beaches were always done by the Marines. And they went in and they established a beachhead. They won the beach. And when they conquered the beach, they turned it over to the Army. Your Marines are your soul winners. They're the people that have the ability. They're God-called evangelists, whether we call them evangelists or not. They go in, they teach a Bible study, they win a person to God. But a lot of our churches, they use these same people to disciple them, to take care of them. And the first thing you know, they're so wrapped up in ministering to the people that they don't have time to go back and establish another beachhead. So we have people that are not good soul winners, but they're good Bible teachers. And when that Marine hits the beach, conquers the beach, we pull them out, turn the people that they win over to the Army or to disciplers. Consequently, the soul winner now is available to go and hit another beach or another family that needs to be won to God. And we have found that that works very effective. We have people that can teach the Bible. They're Bible theologians. They're excellent teachers. They can't win anybody, but they can disciple people. And so we take the evangelists, those that can win people, turn their people over to a discipler. Consequently, they can go and find another family. And they don't get bogged down in the day-to-day discipling of people. When we found that we find these people that can win people, and we put them on full time. It's not but maybe a year or maybe 2 years. Now they want to start their own church. So we start daughter work. We have 5 daughter works going right now. And the daughter works are doing better than most of the churches in our district because these men are trained soul winners. And every time someone comes in, we have a young man that we prayed through, maybe 2 years ago. And he was so enthusiastic. And I said, he wanted to start evangelizing immediately. And I said, no, you're not going to evangelize out there. You're not going to get a fifth wheel trailer or a motor home and hit the sawdust trail. But rather, we told him, I said, you got to start teaching Bible studies. You got to learn how to win people to God. Well, that's exactly what he's done. And he's become such an effective soul winner that when he starts his own church, he's going to be very successful. But a lot of times we have Bible school kids that come to our church. They don't want to teach Bible studies because that's work and there's no glory in it. They want the pulpit. And the thing is, they may do great in the pulpit, but one day they start pastoring the church. They have not learned how to be soul winners. Their church becomes stagnant. They become frustrated. They resign, and they find another non-productive church. But if you can teach people to be soul winners.
So what I'm hearing here is the principle of the importance of somebody establishing their ministry in private pulpits before a public pulpit.
Absolutely.
I know, and I've told you both, talking to both of you one-on-one, obviously, I've got regrets in my ministry. I'm sure if we could push the rewind button, we'd change some things. My major regret is that I became my own choice, but I became so bogged down in administration
Administration.
that and administration is important. I got that.
Very important.
But this teaching Bible studies one-on-one is something that I did not do enough of. Not even close did I do enough of. And I've said there is a marked difference in a man or a woman standing up publicly who has consistently been in homes close to people because they know what the questions are, they know what the answers are, they know what people are going through in their lives. And so the way that both of you are approaching getting somebody teaching and then them coming behind and adding someone and keeping literally what I'm seeing, you've both got a pipeline very well established in how to continually train people, and then you don't overload them with a lot of other ministries in the church. You keep them focused on teaching Bible studies. Is that what I'm hearing?
You make administrators, you make soul winners. All 5 of my full-time pastors, almost every Bible study they teach, they have someone with them that we are training them to be Bible study teachers.
Gotcha. Right.
Now, to support what Brother Cornwell has said, and you said, Brother, along the way, both Brother Cornwell and I are establishing the fact that a Bible study is a microcosm of a church.
Exactly.
It has to be taught the word, has to be maintained. So if a Bible teacher or if a young preacher can successfully teach a home Bible study, that's a microcosm of a church. All the church is multiples of that microcosm.
That's exactly right.
So if he learns
Very
that
good.
technique, he can build a church.
Very good.
That's tremendous. The more Bible study teachers you have, of course, you're going to grow that much faster. A number of years ago, our church went from just 20 people to we exploded. Our Bible studies had taken off. The district pastors came to me and want me to present Bible study ministries to them. And so I took my Bible study chart and I sat down with probably a half a dozen pastors, leading pastors in our district. And I just showed them what I'd done. Explained to them how I got my Bible studies, set my chart up, showed them how I taught. And they asked, well, how long is your Bible study? And I said, well, my average Bible study lasts about 35 weeks. And so their conclusion was, when I got through, that Bible studies won't build a church, that it takes too long. And they rejected Bible study ministries because they said, we're just going to have apostolic revival. And so I departed, defeated, because I did not convince any of those pastors that Bible studies would build their church. Well, we went from 20 to 500 in such a short time, and they went from 200 and 300 down to 100 in the same period of time. Because apostolic revival is nothing more than the sum total of the people that you're reaching. And it's very important that every church have some kind of method that they are using to reach people consistently. And if their method is not working, stop it and try something that will work.
Absolutely. So the principle, the biblical principle of Exodus 18 about breaking it down, having leaders over so many, reaching so many, to where
Competent leaders.
competent leaders.